What up, gang? I got a really awesome, request from one of the followers here on YouTube. His name is Rodney. He's out of Austin, Texas, and he asked me if I could do an honest review on the 2023 Kawasaki Ninja ZX-10R KRT edition and a 2023 regular R1 2023 edition. So I'm going to go ahead and just do that for you, Rodney. So Rodney, this particular video is for you. I'm going to start with the R1, and I'm going to talk about what I love about it. Obviously, I have ridden these bikes, R1s, for over 10 years. The designs on them have changed. You remember back in the day, the pipes used to come underneath the seat over here. Used to get really hot and everything too. But the 2023, I think they've done one hell of a job with this bike. A lot of people complain that the engines haven't changed and this and that, but you don't change something that works. You call it R1s just work. I've never had a mechanical issue on any of my R1s. And the beautiful thing about it, these bikes, when you get them, they're obviously restricted, but when you flash them, they're absolute beasts. One thing that I do love about my 2023 R1 is the color. I love this blue. The Yamaha blue to me is probably one of the sexiest blues that you're gonna see out there. Coming stock, you're gonna get this really ugly can over here, which is gonna obviously have the cat connected to it. You're gonna need to go ahead and actually modify that by putting the cat, taking the cat delete, and then of course picking a pipe of your choice. A lot of people don't use Yoshimura. I do. It's one of my go-tos, and I love the Yoshimura mainly because I have the ability to go out there and when I flash the bikes, they pick up horsepower. So you hear a lot about the SE projects, you hear a lot about M4s, you hear a lot about the Acras on here, but I'm a big Yoshi fan and it works out really good. So the 2021 or 2023 model for the Yamaha R1 is going to run you roughly about $18,000. So that's what you're going to expect to spend on this bike. Your modifications on this bike are going to be pretty minimal. I mean, you're obviously going to have your sliders. You're going to have basically whatever protection you want to use in the bike, and also your pipe costs. You're also going to have your flash costs, which are going to run you about $800. And then, but mostly everything that you have on the bike comes stock. This does come with a quick shift and auto blipper. I'm going to tell you, this is one of the best shifters in the business. They're super smooth, up and down, and it just gets the job done. So I love it. You're going to also have titanium headers on these particular bikes that come stock. So when you do your can upgrade, you're just going to need a 3/4 wide pipe on here and then your can. So you can basically do that. Obviously for insurance purposes, I use Geico for my insurance, and I'm able to insure my bike for right about $225 for the year. So that's what it costs to insure this particular bike. You had a question about that, and again, I just use the minimum because I'm only on these bikes either on the track or very few times during the day, a very short amount of time. So running the minimum is going to be fine for me on this side here. The only thing that I would suggest is the tires. You're probably going to want to change those out. The stock tires are okay, but for a track tire, you're going to probably be looking, at trying to get some Rosso courses on those things, either 3s or 4s. Do really, really well on this bike, and they're super sticky. But this bike right here is my go-to. I love riding it. It's a good daily, and it's also a good track bike. Okay, so that's the pros for the actual R1. Let's switch over here to the Kawasaki ZX-10R KRT edition. This bike here is absolutely wonderful. I don't ride a whole lot of Kawasaki, but from what I had seen on the street from people that do own them, they love their bikes. They're super, super powerful. I'm gonna tell you, outside the box, just out of the crate, this bike is super powerful. You guys know that we flashed this bike just recently. I've got it completely dialed in. And this bike just is an absolute beast screamer. I'm gonna tell you too, on the lower end, this bike has more torque than the R1. For those of you that ride Kawasaki's and have gone to the R1s, the biggest complaint is that the R1s have a flat spot when they're not flashed, roughly between 6,000 and 8,000 RPM, which is fixed by the tunes. So that was tuned by KWS Motorsports. There's a really good Bren tune for this one as well, for the R1. I'll tell you, the Ninja, we actually did this with a Woolwich flash, and we got it dialed. The bike spits out almost basically 201 or no 193 horse from the rear, you call that, which is fantastic. And with the torque, it feels even faster. What do I love about the Kawasaki, okay, versus the R1? The Kawasaki comes with a couple of really cool things that are not included on a standard R1. One being the steering dampener. This Olin steering dampener is fabulous. When you actually ride at a high speed, 200 miles plus, this bike is so stable. Secondarily too, you're gonna notice that the brake set on this bike here is all Brembo versus what you're gonna see on an R1, which is kind of like their generic calipers. Nothing against this, the bike stops well, but to have the name brand on there is fantastic.